What's up, boxing fans? Welcome to V-Sports Insider. Now we take a look at the weekly boxing overview. We're gonna take a look at a few fight cards that we have on this weekend. First is the Matchroom card live on DAZN from London, England. Anthony Joshua against Kubrat Pulev. Then we have an interesting fight card in Las Vegas on ESPN. Shakur Stevenson is fighting TOKA KAHN CLARY with Felix Verdejo versus Masayoshi Nakatani on the card as well. And we have a Showtime card from Connecticut. Chris Colbert versus Jaime ARBOLEDA for the interim WBA Super Featherweight World Championship. So we're gonna take a quick look at these three fight cards that are gonna happen this Saturday. Stay tuned. We're gonna start with the biggest and the most significant fight card of the weekend. It's the London DAZN Matchroom card, headlined by Anthony Joshua defending his unified heavyweight championship of the world against Kubrat Pulev, a top 10 opponent. And on the undercard there's gonna be Lawrence Okolie fighting for the vacant WBO Cruiserweight World title versus Nikodem Jędrzejewski of Poland. And there's also an interesting undercard fight between the fringe contenders of the heavyweight division, Hughie Fury against Marius Wach, 10 rounds in the heavyweight division. So let's get into it. Anthony Joshua is finally coming back to the ring. He's gonna be fighting against the mandatory challenger, the IBF mandatory challenger Kubrat Pulev, a top 10 opponent, a guy that has only ever lost once in his career, and it was against Vladimir Klitschko. But at this point in time, Kubrat Pulev is 39 years old, and it's a big question whether or not he presents a legitimate challenge for Anthony Joshua at the moment. I mean, Pulev is one of those guys that's been around for years. He's a perennial contender, and he's managed to stay inside the top 10 by fighting gatekeepers and fringe contenders and keep his winning streak going. On the other hand, Anthony Joshua is coming back after successfully avenging his only loss of his career against Andy Ruiz in a highly anticipated fight in Saudi Arabia, where Anthony Joshua readjusted his style. He was able to outbox Andy Ruiz over the course of 12 rounds and cruise to an easy unanimous decision victory after a shocking defeat in their first fight in Joshua's American debut. Obviously, AJ is the favorite here. He should win by KO. But Kubrat Pulev, he's not a guy that's gonna fold so easily. Remember, it took Vladimir Klitschko a few vicious knockdowns to keep Pulev down, but there's no question the youth, the strength, the physical prowess, everything goes Joshua's favor, and he should be able to close the show before it goes to the judges. He's a big favorite to secure a KO victory here against Kubrat Pulev, and that's probably going to be Pulev's last big payday because he's pushing 40. He's been around for years. There's a wear and tear on him. He's slower than he was. He was 33 years old when he was defeated by Vladimir Klitschko, and that was years ago. So a very good fight, a very big fight, a top 10 opponent for Anthony Joshua, but also an opponent that Anthony Joshua should no question defeat. Now the co-main event, Lawrence Okolie, a top cruiserweight prospect from Britain. He was supposed to fight for the title against Krzysztof Glowacki, who tested positive for COVID, so he's out, and the vacant WBO title will be on the line for Lawrence Okolie against another Polish fighter. His name is Nikodem Jędrzejewski, and to be honest, he's not a top fighter. He's not a top 20 fighter. He's not a top 50 fighter. So it should be an easy night, an easy belt for Lawrence Okolie, who might be able to create a big name for himself pretty soon because he's already headlined at 0-2 against Chamberlain. And you know, now after Maurice Brady's victory in the World Boxing Super Series, he's talking about moving up, so the division might be wide open for fighters like Okolie, for fighters like Arsene Goulamirian, Alexei Egorov, and other younger generation up-and-coming cruiserweights that are hitting their prime right now. The third fight on the card is also an interesting fight. It's a fight between two fringe heavyweight contenders, Hughie Fury against Marius Wach. Obviously, Hughie Fury is a favorite here. He was much faster fighter, much more skilled fighter, high IQ. Marius Wach, he's got iron chin. That's probably the only thing he's known for. So you can bet this fight is going to go to Hughie Fury, securing probably a shutout, unanimous decision victory. and that might lead into bigger fights in the future and possibly a comeback into the contention, a comeback into the top 15, maybe top 10 down the line, maybe a big payday, but we'll see. So moving on to another fight card this weekend, Las Vegas, ESPN, promoted by Top Rank. Shakur Stevenson is fighting TOKA, KAHN, CLARY. 10 rounds at super featherweight division. Obviously Shakur Stevenson, he's still waiting on his title shot. He's still waiting for either the WBO situation to resolve itself. There's Jamel Herring. Shakur Stevenson is the former WBO featherweight champion, so he's got right to become a mandatory challenger over there. He's also a top rated contender with the WBC, where Miguel Berchelt was supposed to fight Oscar Valdez, but he's out because of COVID, so Oscar Valdez is going to fight somebody else. He doesn't want to fight Shakur Stevenson. He keeps avoiding Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson is the reason Oscar Valdez moved up, and now Oscar Valdez still doesn't want to fight him. But if Shakur keeps doing what he's doing right now, Oscar Valdez will soon enough be forced to fight Shakur Stevenson, and there's gonna be no more running, no more ducking, no more avoiding. And obviously once Shakur Stevenson, or should I say if Shakur Stevenson proves to be successful at this weight, wins a world championship belt, he might be setting himself up for a mega fight against Vasyl Lomachenko, who is possibly going to move down from lightweight back to super featherweight, and there's no bigger fight at that weight class than Shakur Stevenson versus Vasyl Lomachenko. Whoever wins that fight in the future is going to be one of the very top pound for pound fighters in the world. Obviously Lomachenko, that would be his chance to get back into the contention for the pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the world. I mean, he's still one of the top pound for pound fighters, but he used to be number one. Now there's Usyk, there's Crawford, there's Teofimo Lopez, Canelo, Naoya Inoue. Those guys have now moved in front of him, and if Shakur Stevenson ends up defeating Vasyl Lomachenko, that could be his career defining victory. That would be his fast track ticket to the superstardom, to the pound for pound, the best fighter in the world contention, and it's only gonna be the big things for Shakur Stevenson from that point on if he proves to be successful. Also on this card, Edgar Berlanga, the KO artist, 15-0, 15 knockouts, all 15 in the first round. He's coming back and he's fighting Ulysses Sierra. It's not a top opponent, but Edgar Berlanga is a must-see action. Everybody he touches goes to sleep. That's what happened to the 14 victims he forced prior to fighting Leonard KO Bellows, who was supposed to be his toughest fight. Didn't happen. He got destroyed inside the round just like everybody else. So Edgar Berlanga is coming. He's gonna be ready for the top 15, top 10 fighters really soon. He's ready for the top 10 right now. Even when you take a look at top 10, there's still a few fighters that don't even belong there. There are a few fighters that are ready for the taking right now, such as Anthony Durrell, Danny Jacobs, even Caleb Plant. I would give Berlanga a decent chance to catch Plant early and get him out of there. So overall, it's not a top level card, but it's definitely an interesting card. It's a card worth watching. And let's not forget a fight between Felix Verdejo and Masayoshi Nakatani. Obviously Nakatani is the guy that took Teofimo Lopez 12 rounds before Teofimo defeated Richard Comey for the IBF Championship of the World. Felix Verdejo, he's been rebuilding his career after a shocking defeat to Antonio Torres in 2018. So right now he's trying to get back possibly into the contendership. Defeating Masayoshi Nakatani would definitely get him there, get him close to the top 10. If you take a close look at the governing body's ratings right now, Felix Verdejo is number 5 by the IBF, but if you look at the WBO, Felix Verdejo is number 12, Masayoshi Nakatani is number 14. Whoever wins the fight might end up being in the top 5. You never know with the WBO ratings, but if that happens, you see George Kambosos, he's going to be mandatory for the WPF. Vasyl Lomachenko is probably not even gonna be there, and it just might happen that if Teofimo Lopez moves up, Ryan Garcia and Felix Verdejo end up fighting for the vacant WBO belt. Nothing's for sure right now, nothing's been decided. Teofimo Lopez still plans to stay at the division for the moment, but he's planning to move up really soon, so this is just a possibility. We'll see what happens from here on. So moving on to the Showtime card from Connecticut. We have 3 fights here. We have Ronald Ellis versus Matt Korobov, 10 rounds at middleweight. This is the super old Matt Korobov, but still the same Matt Korobov that went life and death with Jamal Charlo not long ago. So if Ronald Ellis is able to defeat Korobov, it could put him in the middleweight title contention very soon. Next fight, Richardson Hitchins against Argenis Mendes, 10 rounds at the light welterweight division. Hitchins, a prospect rated 69th in the world right now, taking on Argenis Mendes, who's rated 27, so it's a significant step up in his competition. But this is by no means a co-main event quality fight, more like an undercard opener where a young prospect gets to showcase his skills. But Showtime is in trouble, okay? Showtime is not doing well. Showtime is getting outperformed by any other network in the United States that broadcasts boxing. They really need to double check if Espinosa is doing his job correctly, but we're gonna leave that on the side right now. The main event of the evening, Chris Colbert. He's one of the top prospects at the super featherweight division right now, and a victory over Jaime Arboleda probably pushes him into the top 10 fighters at the weight. Also, the WBA interim title is on the line. The WBA world champion at the division is Rene Alvarado, who, to be honest, might be ready for the taking by Chris Colbert. So the WBA ratings wise, a lot is on the line for Chris Colbert, and if he passes this test, he definitely deserves a shot at Rene Alvarado, deserves to be one of the 4 champions at the super featherweight division. Let's not forget the other title holders are Miguel Berchelt, he's the #1 guy in the division. There's Jojo Diaz holding the IBF belt. There's Jamel Herring holding the WBO belt. There's still Tevin Farmer. There's Oscar Valdez, a new contender in the division. There's Shakur Stevenson, probably the most talented fighter in the division right now. And there's also Gervonta Tank Davis holding that Walmart belt that he won by knocking out Leo Santa Cruz. So a lot of options, a lot of good fighters in the division, and we'll see what happens from now on. So definitely a very interesting Saturday for the fight fans. Definitely a few interesting cards. A big time fight between Joshua and Pulev. A few faces to look at. Shakur Stevenson, Chris Colbert, Edgar Barlenga, and Lawrence Okolie all fighting this weekend, all fighting this Saturday. Tell us who you think is gonna come out victorious this weekend. Don't forget to subscribe, and that we're out. We'll catch you later.